August 1st, Yorkshire Day. A day of celebration for the wonderful English county. A day of recognition for its wonderful countryside, the glorious coastline, its tea, and most importantly, its puddings. And what better way to celebrate Yorkshire Day than by releasing the video game Thank Goodness You're Here, a comedy slapformer by Cole's Supper, which is available on all platforms except Xbox. I had only recently heard of this game, and by simply learning that it's a comedy game set in a fictional town in Yorkshire was enough to put it straight on my wishlist. To put it bluntly, this game is mental. Its absurdist, outlandish, and sometimes dark humour resonated with me so much that I started having suspicions that this game was made just for me. Having lived in the north of England for many years of my life and growing up with the likes of the Yorkshire god David Firth and his many creations, namely Waller FM, that podcast got me through school, I've pretty much been conditioned to associate the accent with comedy. I feel like it adds such a beautiful layer of hilarity, and if anyone would ever ask what my sense of humour is, then I'm gonna start pointing them towards this game. Not 1 minute went by without me laughing, which I don't think has ever happened before with any other game. So how about we jump into the wonderful world of Thank Goodness You're Here, and visit the charming town of Barnsworth. The story of Thank Goodness You're Here is very simple. You play as a salesman who's been tasked with going to Barnsworth to sell something. The game never tells you what you're trying to sell or even what your name is, but that doesn't matter. All you need to know is that you're a little guy from the big city heading to Yorkshire. When you arrive, you're sitting in the waiting room outside the mayor's office, but learn he won't be available for a few hours, so the natural thing to do is leave and see what Barnsworth is all about. You then have the pleasure of meeting the town's delightful characters, and soon find out that the majority of them are in need of help and decide you're the best person for the job. Thank goodness you're here, I suppose. And that's pretty much it for the game's story. It's obviously not an intricate story, but it doesn't need to be in the slightest, and it's not what I wanted out of this experience. It just paves the way for the game's main selling point to shine through, the comedy. Jokes and laughter are plastered on every millimeter of this game, and not a frame goes by without something happening and leaving you in stitches. Exploring Barnsworth is an absolute delight. It's a fictional version of the former mining town of Barnsley, which is where the developers met in their youth. Being British myself, I was able to relate a lot to the various areas it offers. Instead of Poundland, there's price shaggers, there's a chippy, there's a pie shop, and rows of terraced houses that's a staple in any British town. There's even jokes about British slogans I hear every day. Instead of see it, say it, sorted, that I hear a million times during my train commute, here it's see it, smell it, sorted. Also, in Price Shaggers, I spotted J and Mel, which is a joke about those horrible TVs and shops that would advertise JML products. It's small things like this that really put a smile on my face. So the comedy isn't limited to just the characters you meet, it's literally everywhere you look. I think the characters are the funniest thing about this game. They're always over-exaggerated depictions of British stereotypes, and every line they say is comedy gold. They could just say a sentence that wouldn't be funny at all in any other accent, but because it's said with a Yorkshire twang, it accelerates the humour to a whole new level.
I've got it tough, me.
Yeah?
Aye, we both do. We're tatties.
Oh, aye.
Yep. 42 a bed, dirt for breakfast, dirt for dinner.
And we used to sleep in sacks.
Exactly.
Some of my favourite moments in this game are with the cow, the man whose living room you keep destroying, the tragic backstory of the man with the big head, and the man in the bed who for some reason has really long and stretchy arms. There's even a man outside the pub who shouts lager every time you hit him. I am not lying when I say there is a joke in every minute of this game, and each one lands perfectly. Not once did I think it's cringy, trying too hard, or just simply unfunny. But as I was playing through the game, I did start to wonder what other audiences from different countries would make of it, because a lot of the humour does require an understanding you can only gain by either living in the UK, or at least by spending a long time in the UK. Definitely watch a trailer or a few clips of the jokes before buying it. If it doesn't make you laugh, then I think it's advisable to give this one a miss. So I've talked a lot about the comedy of this game, but I haven't touched upon how it actually plays. The developers describe this game as a slapformer, and the reason for this becomes self-evident right off the bat. The game adds a whole new meaning to slapstick comedy. All you do is slap objects or people and walk around. That's really all there is to it. But there's something satisfying in the slapping that's hard to describe, and pretty much everything you see is slappable. Slapping characters typically reveals more of their dialogue, which is something I definitely wanted to hear because of how hilarious it usually is. And this made me explore every inch of the map because I just wanted to experience everything the game offers and soak it all in. If you are a completionist and want to get all the achievements, then make sure to slap everything in sight. As I've mentioned previously, this game is all about helping the townsfolk, which involves some puzzle solving, but it never takes long to figure them out during natural exploration. You'll need to help a man get his arm out of a grid, find tools for a handyman fixing the local chippy's deep fat fryer, and assist a gardener with his escapades, who, may I add, is voiced by Matt Berry, and he does a fantastic job. The game does involve a lot of backtracking during the many fetch quests, but it never becomes frustrating or boring. The developers did an amazing job at keeping the game fresh at all times. There are running jokes that start at the beginning of the game and won't conclude until near the end. Developments with characters occur each time you revisit an area, which always makes it exciting to do. One of my favourite running jokes were the two neighbours having a dispute with their bins, which is very apt to British life. Another was an inappropriate man in the garden, who made himself look like a cabbage after seeing how a woman tries to pull them out. It's dumb stuff like this that never makes the game stale while you're busy traversing the town on your many quests. I wouldn't say the gameplay of Thank Goodness You're Here is anything to rave about, but as I've mentioned before, this isn't the main reason for playing the game. Of course, it's fun to run around the town and slap everything around you, but ultimately it's the comedy that will carry you through until the end. So to conclude, I had an absolute blast playing Thank Goodness You're Here, and I can 100% proclaim I have never laughed harder at a video game than I did with this. It's true that it is a very easy game and will only take you around 2 to 3 hours to complete, but it doesn't need to be anything more. The game doesn't overstay its welcome and provides such an enjoyable experience that you won't find in many other games. After completing this game, of course I started telling everybody I know about it, but for the first time I found myself recommending a game with the main reason being that it's funny. I've never played a game just to laugh before, and it's a really nice feeling, one which I hope I can experience again. Ultimately, I very much enjoyed Thank Goodness You're Here. I had a smile on my face from beginning to end, and I've honestly never laughed so much at a game. The writing is phenomenal, and it's something I'll definitely be going back to whenever I need a pick-me-up. So yeah, please go and support this developer and play Thank Goodness You're Here. It's right good. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you watched this video until the end and enjoyed what you saw, then please consider hitting the like button. Please also consider subscribing for more content like this. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.